Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Salesforce Live at Dreamforce. I'm Kim Seabrook, and I'm here with a couple of extraordinary guests that I'm very excited to introduce you to. We're here this morning with Kirk Krappe, the CEO and founder of Apttus. Welcome. Good morning, Kurt.
Thank you, Kim.
And we're also here with another very special guest brought by the Apttus team. We have our good friend Steve Rakoczy, the CIO of Neopost USA.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited that you're here. I have to say, I feel like you're a pair of celebrities. I was so enjoying your talk yesterday right before the Hillary Clinton keynote. How does it feel to be a celebrity, Kurt?
So I'm not sure I would characterize myself as a celebrity, but I must admit, in all the years we've come to Dreamforce, it for me was an incredible experience, and you know, all thanks to Salesforce for allowing us to do that. It was really, really remarkable.
It was remarkable.
Yeah.
Well, you've earned it over the years. You've become a very highly valued partner for Salesforce, and so that's why you're here today and why you were there yesterday. And you're a customer of Apttus's. Neopost is. And so we're going to talk to you a little bit about how Neopost has transformed your business. But first, let's talk about Apttus. So yesterday when you were on stage, you were sharing with thousands and thousands, maybe millions if we were talking about the live feed, about quote to cash. Can you explain to me what quote to cash is?
Yeah, so it's interesting. So quote to cash is a business process that actually is very well understood as a business process, but historically it hasn't really been automated. And what it is, if you think of an end-to-end sales cycle, it's really the second half of the sales cycle.
Okay.
So where a salesperson's engaged with a customer and they get to the point of the sales cycle where the customer needs a quote, we pick it up from that point. So quote to cash is really sort of three building blocks. There's the quoting area, where a salesperson will then pick a product, configure it. If the customer likes it, sends it to the customer. And if the customer then agrees with it and wants to do business, we then end up in the contracting area, which is the second pillar.
Yeah.
So then you go through a contracting phase, you may negotiate it, and then at the point of negotiating it, ultimately if the customer agrees, you'll sign it. Once it's signed, then you need to manage to all the elements in the contract, the financial elements. So we call that the revenue management. And revenue management's everything from billing the customer properly to rebate management, order orchestration, and those sorts of things. So quote to cash is really picking up from where Salesforce finishes and doing those three buckets to get it to the financial system.
That sounds like a very complex process.
So it is complex. There are elements of it that are really complex, but the value of doing this is the revenue process of a company. I mean, arguably it's the most important process in a company, and the value of doing it to make sure that you're quoting properly, you're using the right agreements, you're billing properly, turns out to be really hard. So it is complex, but it's highly, highly valued in most companies.
Yeah, I can see that. So there are other companies that do this, right? But we don't hear about them as much as we do hear about Apttus. What has made you specifically so successful?
So a couple of things. So 8 years ago, as we said yesterday on the stage, we made a decision to actually use the Salesforce platform to build our applications and have Salesforce host, manage, and deliver our apps.
Yeah.
And that was an incredible decision because it really allowed us to focus on the functional stuff, the stuff that customers really care about, actually using the applications.
Yeah.
And we let Salesforce do everything else. So at the time, it seemed like a strange decision because the platform didn't really exist. It was at the very early phases of then known as Force.com. But we had extraordinary benefit from that, especially for Salesforce customers, because when we go to a Salesforce customer, we show a suite of applications that they become very interested in, and it's inside their infrastructure. It pretty much becomes a no-brainer for them to select us, assuming they want those elements of the quote-to-cash process. So I think a combination of all the applications and being on Salesforce platform has just been a remarkable story for us.
It feels like it makes us an absolutely perfect partner. It's one of the most inspiring stories from our ecosystem. Yours is that big decision to make the move to the cloud, to Salesforce's cloud, to the platform in the early days. I mean, right now we take that for granted, you know, that because there are hundreds of partners, thousands of partners that do it. Yeah. But you were ahead of the crowd.
We were, and you know, we have this little paradigm at Apttus, which is quite interesting. Everybody was telling us not to do it. They were saying it's way too early, and so people would say no, no, no. And one of the paradigms we operate in Apttus is if 4 really smart people say no 4 times, it means you probably should do it, because smart people won't do it, and if you manage to pull it off, then you're going to be ahead of the curve. And so we did it, and honestly, it's the best decision we could possibly have made.
Kudos to you. That is really extraordinary. I like your philosophy of getting no's and then doing the opposite.
We still operate in that paradigm today, by the way.
So you've brought with you today one of your very good customers.
Absolutely.
And my understanding is that using Apttus has transformed your business at Neopost. Can you share with me a little bit about, as the CIO of Neopost, you had a big decision in front of you. What made you decide to partner with Apttus?
Well, if you think about Neopost, most people know us for postage machines. So when you get an envelope in the mail instead of a stamp and you see the red ink, people know that's what we do.
Yeah.
But that's what a small part of our business now. What we do is really business communications management.
Okay.
If you take a traditional business, it's fairly simple. There's a postage machine, a scale, maybe a stuffer, and 40% of the time our sales reps get the orders wrong. There's some error on that. Now you take a look at business communications and we're selling software. We're selling solutions. We're selling, professional services. There's user license agreements. There's different T's and C's. You can't expect them to get all that stuff right because they're different by the software piece. So we started taking a look about a year and a half ago saying we really need a partner that can help us get our sales reps out of the business worry about paperwork. We work with a lot of large companies, but also a lot of small companies, small to medium-sized businesses that cannot make the IT investment that big companies can. So we sell them solutions that make them look like a big company. And we want our sales professionals focused on helping them understand how to do that as opposed to how to fill out paperwork.
Of course.
So we spent a year looking at different solutions, and we looked at pretty much everyone here at Dreamforce. We narrowed it down to a couple vendors, and we put them through a very rigorous, and Kirk will attest to this, program of going through this back and forth. And we really want someone that could give us a foolproof configurator, so you could configure an order, make it work right, have a universal product match, because as we add in these software products from different companies, you got to be able to see them all in one spot.
Yep.
Take that, turn it into an order, and load it into our system. And after looking for over a year, vetting everyone out, Apttus was the clear solution. And what's been really great to us now, we're freeing up our salespeople to do what they want to do, is sell, not worrying about paperwork.
That makes a lot of sense. And I imagine there's been a very strong impact now that you have implemented Apttus. How long has it been that you've had it at your organization?
Well, to be quite honest with you, we just implemented it for our software solutions.
Okay.
But the other neat thing about Apttus, I don't know if I'm going off script here or not, but Kirk called me in August and said, hey Steve, since you've made this investment already in your configure price quote, why don't you do that for your customers with their e-commerce tool? And we talked about it in August. I signed the contract, I think the second week of September, right?
That's right.
We're going live in 2 weeks because we built the foundation. And so it's pretty exciting there. Yeah. Also, so it's taken us 3 months to put a solution in place that would have taken us a year otherwise.
I love that you're thinking outside the box. And I like that you're acting as partners. It's not vendor company. It seems like you really are throwing out business ideas together.
I just want to say that I deal with a lot of CIOs and a lot of senior execs, but Steve has been really exceptional on the vision front about what he wants to do with his business, and he is constantly coming back to us and asking us about, what else we can do for him. He is absolutely on the forefront of visionary front, and then the second aspect about him, he's a really difficult negotiator. he got the best deal and he doesn't even know it.
All right, don't tell anybody what you're paying for the solution. Yeah, I imagine after a year of looking at the solution, you were just ready to get the business closed.
Absolutely. He put us through ringers that probably the top 2% of companies typically do. But
so it's kudos to you that you're thinking outside the box, but it's also kudos to Apttus that you have this business creativity and also a platform that allows you to adapt to the needs of your business customers, which I think is an extraordinary testament to the product.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. Right. Now, you've had it installed for a few months, so what kind of benefits do you expect to get from having this whole quote-to-cash automation?
Well, here's the thing you take a look at. There's a lot of hidden costs in getting an order wrong up front.
Yes, there are.
Because you have to do a credit rebill, you take off a customer, they might have the wrong product, you have to bring back, there's a ton of cost. And our whole goal is this, we partner with our customers so they can partner with their customers.
Yep.
And we don't want to make life difficult with us. And what we expect to get out of this is the order right the first time, the right product to the customer, and bill them correctly. So they can focus on their business, which is helping their customers as opposed to dealing with our billing.
That's a great goal. That's so important. And being on the sales side of things, I know how many mistakes can happen and how expensive those mistakes can be to a company. So I imagine there'll be a huge ROI on this.
Oh yeah, we're really excited about it. And don't tell Kirk how big it is because he'll ask for more money. But,
he is going to ask for more money. That's how it works.
Right.
So that's a great story. Thank you for sharing that with us. It's exceptional to hear customers really transforming their businesses. So talk to me, Kirk. What are you doing at Dreamforce here this year?
So actually, anybody who will visit Dreamforce will see immediately you come into the zone here, Apttus absolutely dominates. For us, Dreamforce is the single most important element of our marketing and anything we do in a whole year. We actually have a very large booth, which is actually just behind us, but we have 6 others. So we actually make a really big investment. We're not a single booth company, so we try and really give as much presence centrally because Salesforce customers become very interested in our solution.
Yep.
But we have 6 other booths featuring all sorts of things like e-commerce, as Steve spoke about, our product called X-Author, which is the Microsoft Salesforce sort of crossover type product, and a series of other products. So for us, this is the single most important event. We make sure we absolutely dominate, and we're just really lucky to be such a privileged partner of Salesforce to be able to do that.
You are dominating. Your name is everywhere. Everyone is talking about this product, so kudos to you. You mentioned your X-Author. That we're very excited about that release.
Yeah.
So I'm going to wrap up here. Thank you everyone for joining us from Salesforce Live at Dreamforce. Keep on listening. We'll be on air tomorrow.